In looking at the First Amendment, there are several rights listed that Americans enjoy every day. The freedom of speech and press, the freedom to assemble peaceably, and the freedom of petition are all rights promised by the government. But the one that stands out at the front of the amendment is perhaps one of the most confused and improperly used rights of them all. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This simple clause has had a resounding impact on the freedom of religion. Today, though, several people across the nation misuse or misunderstand this fundamental right. People are quick to say that the First Amendment ensures the separation of church and state, but miss the true meaning of that phrase. What I would like to address is the origin of the phrase separation of church and state and its true meaning. A quick look at the amendment proves that the phrase is absent from the text. So the question is then, where did the phrase originate? The answer actually comes 10 years after the ratification of the Bill of Rights, though the intent had been around for much longer. Since the time of the early American Baptist movement, beginning with Roger Williams, Baptists have long held that the government should not be involved in church affairs. In 1801, after the election of Thomas Jefferson, a group of Connecticut Baptists called the Danbury Association write the newly elected president wanting confirmation that their religious liberties would not be endangered due to the lack of a formal guarantee of religious freedom in their state's constitution. Jefferson replies saying, "I contemplate with sovereign reverence that act of the whole American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state." In the commitment to objectivity and honesty that is essential to historical investigation, I must also mention the deeper meaning of what the Danbury Association and Thomas Jefferson were implying. As Middlecoff mentions in our text, there has been a long-standing fear that the Anglican Church would establish a Bishop of America prior to the Revolution. This fear stemmed from the fact that many colonists had escaped Anglican hierarchy to worship freely in America, and they were worried that the British would begin forcing religious conformity to a state-sponsored church through this bishop. The fear of a state-sponsored church carried over to the Bill of Rights in the First Amendment. This is the point that the Danbury Association were worried about, that the government would establish a church that would infringe on their religious liberties that they and others so greatly desired. Thus, Jefferson assured them that there would be a wall of separation between church and state to ensure that no state church would be established. Though some, like James Huston, suggest that Jefferson's reply had more to do with quelling rumors regarding Jefferson's atheism than an actual representation of his views regarding religious liberties. All things aside, Joseph Dawson summarizes the truth behind the First Amendment well when he says, "What the Constitution of the United States forbids, and what the Constitution of all the states forbid, although in different forms of expression, is the making of any law or the action of any governmental authority in pursuance of any law that involves the interlocking of the official function of the state with the official institutional functions of any church." It should be understood, then, that the separation of church and state is designed to keep the government from interfering in the practices of the church. Unfortunately, many Americans understand this amendment to mean that religion has no place in the operation of the government and have used this misunderstanding to limit religious activities and imagery in government buildings and proceedings, something the Founding Fathers never intended.